everyone. Welcome to episode 42 of Just Lying Around, Detroit Lions podcast presented by the World of Football. I'm your host, Kyle Sutherland, and I'm joined by my co-host and brother-in-law, Adam Snow. Adam, how you feeling now that the Lions are on top of the division?
I about had a heart attack. It about stopped 5 times during that game. Good Lord. Man, this is the exact kind of game I predicted over on the picks video this last week. I said it was going to be a tough, gritty. I figured maybe a lower scoring game, but it was close. It was close. Aaron called it in our group text, though, like about 10, 15 minutes before it happened, the Jake Bates game-winning field goal. Man, that's one that, you're glad Detroit gets, and we'll get into it. But, man, it feels good. Felt real good to get that win at the end after, man, shouldn't have been that close.
Yeah, was a heart stopper for sure. We'll talk about all that. But yeah, on today's show, we're going to go over the Lions' Week 7 win against the Minnesota Vikings, and talk some news, and then look ahead at Week 8 against the Tennessee Titans. So we had Lions 31, Vikings 29. First quarter, we'll jump to the first quarter here. Looked absolutely atrocious by the Lions. Couldn't get anything done. Decided, hey, let's do a trick punt kick play there, and didn't work out very well.
No,
I think
not very happy about that.
I think Vaki kind of jumped or ran a little too soon or whatever, and kind of signaled to the Vikings that, hey, maybe a trick play here. If you watch that replay again, you'll kind of see that. But
Even the way the Vikings were lined up on that play made it look like they knew it was coming, like something was going to happen. The way that defense was lined up, and I was like, we're not seriously doing a fake punt here, are we? Like, this would be a dumb decision. And of course, hindsight's 2020. So if they make it, we're applauding Dan Campbell for being ballsy and getting it and going for it early on to set the tone. But they didn't, so we all hate it. I'd hate it even if they made it. I don't think that's the right. I mean, obviously I wouldn't hate it, but no matter what my gut says, that's not the right spot to do that. Now later in the game, I thought they were going to pull a fake kneel down, but they didn't do that. But that fake, it's too early in the game. Two, you're on your own like 30-yard line, and that's what gave the Vikings the momentum and an early touchdown. You wipe that off the board, talking about a totally different game. If you punt it, I thought the Lions defense, for the most part, did really good about it. If you pin the Vikings back and make them have to work that big, long stretch of the field, you're able to at least, they might still get a couple of chunks here, but I felt like the defense played well enough to where I would have been confident to send it back, have Jack Fox pin them, and let the defense try to stop them and hold them, to punt back to us. So, I don't know. So very early on, I'm not happy with the Lions. What was it? How many drives did they start off? They couldn't do anything. It was like 3 drives, 4 drives maybe. The whole first quarter was a stinker.
Yeah, a couple drives at least. Wasn't good.
The whole first quarter was a stinker. But then they rattle off 21 points, 21 unanswered, and we're all on top of the world.
Yeah, that second quarter there, was a completely different game. I don't know if the Lions just clicked something together or what, but yeah, that second quarter defense and the offensive side, they both were finally in the groove. 21 unanswered points, second quarter. Third quarter was pretty much back and back for. Fourth quarter, Vikings kind of, the defensive line for the Vikings kind of got to Jared Goff a lot. And we'll talk about that too. But yeah, ended up Jake Bates winning that game winner field goal for 31-29 ending score.
From the Michigan Panthers to the Detroit Lions. There we go, Jake Bates.
So yeah, let's talk some stats here real quick. Jared Goff, another great game. Besides getting sacked 4 times, he had 22 of 25 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns with a 140 PFF rating. So yeah, another great game for Jared Goff.
And can I just say with him, I mean, that one play where it should have been the strip, like where he was like about to throw it, and that Vikings guy was like right there. Easily could have swiped the ball out. Kudos to Goff for just staying in the pocket. He didn't really freak out. He just kind of, I felt them move up a little bit, and then threw a dart like absolute, just Jared Goff has been playing on another level the last few weeks. And I don't know, enough can't be said about it. He's been awesome.
Yeah, especially that too. We had Zeitler out for the right tackle. He was hurt today, so they had Alsika in there. And usually Alsika plays left guard, so I don't know why they didn't rotate Graham Glasgow to the right
I was
side and
wondering
have
that.
Alsika play left guard. But yeah, also during that first quarter, we had a lot of holding by Awasika, so you could definitely tell he was kind of not used to playing the right guard there.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I was like, that's not usually where he would line up if he were to fill in. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. Hard to say, but it seemed like eventually, after that first quarter, when everybody settled down, you know, then you're not even talking about him. But I was a little concerned towards the end of the game. Taylor Decker letting a couple guys go by him. Uncharacteristic false start by Sewell at one point. Um, so I don't know. The offensive line, I won't say. I mean, they went up against a really great defensive line. Let's give Minnesota some love there.
Yeah.
Minnesota, we knew that defense was going to be a problem, and the Lions answered that blitz. Jared Goff and Ben Johnson addressing the blitz the Vikings were bringing were great until about that fourth quarter. That's when the Vikings started actually getting that pressure. I don't know what Detroit was doing differently, if they weren't scheming against it the same way again, or if the Vikings changed something up. But kudos to that Vikings defense. They are no slouch. I'll give it to them.
Yeah. So yeah, we had Amon-Ra St. Brown 8 receptions for 112 yards, 1 touchdown. David Montgomery 9 carries for 21 yards, 3 receptions for 39 yards. Pretty much quiet day. He went down in the first half with what looked like a knee injury. Ended up getting back out there, and then think the fourth quarter he had a punch out ball. So I don't know if he was just upset with him, but Jahmyr Gibbs took over. He had 15 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 receptions for 44 yards. So when Knuckles is down, Sonic's going to step in and take care of it for him.
Yeah, I mean that's why they're the best, if not one of the best, 1-2 running back duos in the NFL. If something happens like that to Monty, like, hey, look, I know he's going to get back up. He's going to get back out there, which I was glad to see after that little, getting his leg rolled over. But then you have a guy, the next guy, like, hey, if Gibbs is having a good day, you let him go back. And Gibbs was having a great day. So I'm okay with them sending Gibbs back out there. Monty, yeah, he had the fumble, got rolled up, but Monty was playing great too for the most part. Had that great one-handed catch there at one
Oh,
point.
yeah.
So I don't know. I get that at the end, like, I would have liked to have seen him put Monty back out there after that drive, after he fumbled. But I could also see why, all right, now you throw Gibbs out there just to change something up for that defense, give them different way to attack you. So I don't know. I think he'll be fine. He's a pro. We've seen this before. He'll be fine.
Yeah, and I suspect next week when they face the Titans, they're going to have Zeitler back. It should be a lot easier game for the Lions. So
I don't know.
I'm
That
pretty
Titans D's been pretty good. I'm not
well.
saying I'm nervous
They're
about the
one in
Titans D. We'll
five.
talk about them. They are 1-5, but I mean,
Yeah.
as far as they got some dudes on that defense, we'll talk about them later. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll do that. So we had Vikings, Sam Darnold, 21 of 26, 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interceptions. He had 4 carries for 39 yards. And we'll talk about the defensive line and how those carries for Sam Darnold shouldn't have happened, but they did.
Yeah. But
And
speaking of
then,
Sam Darnold, can I real quick interject that Sam Darnold, at the same point that I think that him and Goff both started off about 5 for 5, 6 for 6. They're both just
yeah,
absolutely throwing it really great. At least it wasn't hitting the ground. And the announcers, nobody said anything. I'm like, everybody's giving Goff the love right now, but I was like, Sam Darnold's pretty much doing the same thing. Then he threw a couple incompletions and that fell off. But then he had the one interception, which, boy, oh boy, did that get me off of the couch on that play. But I mean, Sam Darnold still looked pretty decent. Look, I was hoping this would be the game that the Lions would expose him for being the old Sam Darnold, but he's a very much improved quarterback who you see in the field. It helps having two great receivers in an Addison and obviously Justin Jefferson. But if you're the Lions, what's the stat line on Justin Jefferson? Have we gotten that far yet? 7 catches for 81 yards. They essentially held in that touchdown. That was a great touchdown catch by him, by the way. But they essentially held him to the same amount of yards they kind of held CeeDee Lamb last week. Now, you remember last year, remember Lamb and Justin Jefferson just absolutely torching us. So great to
Oh
see this
yeah.
defense. And I think that's a clear sign of this defense and the secondary improving so much this year. But I mean, the Vikings also got a couple other weapons, like Aaron Jones was a heck of a weapon for him today, too. So they could spread the ball around a little more. So, but it's just, I like seeing that they held JJ under 100 yards.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the Vikings were very lucky that Aaron Jones went today because he was on that injured list throughout the whole week here. But yeah, he had a pretty good day too. He had 14 carries for 93 yards, one touchdown with three receptions for 23 yards. So yeah, even though Aaron Jones is getting a little older, he's still got that groove in him. So
I agree with that. Yeah, he's still a good back. I mean, if you think about it, his big gains only came, and so kudos to the Lions defense also. His big gains came on that first big run, off to the outside where Tyrion didn't, cut off the edge there to stop that play from blowing up into what it did. He had the big play during garbage time where they just let him run it up the middle. I want to say, was that before the half where he just like got a big run up the middle and
oh
just got
yeah.
some garbage yards. He had a couple other tiny runs in there, but other than that, I felt like the Lions controlled that run game, kept them pretty much, other than Sam Darnold scrambling, they kept that run game pretty uh, tied down, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. So total yards, Lions 391, Vikings 383 yards. So equal there pretty much. Time of possession, Lions 29 minutes and 2 seconds. Vikings 30 minutes and 58 seconds. So offensive side here, we already talked about the first half. First quarter looked pretty bad. Second quarter, Lions turned it around with three touchdowns to go into the half 21-10. I'm pretty sure most Lions fans thought, game's done. Lions are gonna just blow them out when they come back out. But yeah, second half, Vikings came out, scored some touchdowns, made it very interesting until the last couple minutes of the game there. And then talk about Jameer Gibbs, another great day for him. 160 total yards with two touchdowns, along with St. Brown. I think this is the first game of the season where St. Brown maybe had 100 over 100 yards. Is that
You might
correct?
be right about that. You might be right. He's gotten close. Maybe he did it once. I don't have that at the top of my head, but he hasn't done it a whole lot this year.
Yeah. So yeah, it goes to show when they get those big contracts, they kind of get those eyes on them. But yeah, today 112 yards with one touchdown. So another great day by St. Brown. And also, didn't talk about it, but Khalif Raymond also had a good day today with that touchdown run as well. Um, Laporta, quiet day. I don't think he had any targets or any
He had one
receptions there.
catch. He had
He
one
did?
catch today. Yep. It was kind of like almost the ball almost hit the ground, but he kind of scooped it in. It was on. I want to say it was that drive maybe where Khalif got in. I think it was like
Okay.
right before that when it got it down there. Yeah, one catch for him. Been quiet, but this is a good problem to have if you're the Lions. Is that you have so many weapons. Like, I mean, Laporta's had a few quiet games all season. It's been a quiet season for him, but you know, you're allowed to have a quiet Jameson Williams day today because you had a big Amon-Ra day, a big Jameer Gibbs day with a little David Montgomery sprinkled in. I like that each week that could change. That uh, one of these guys can take the back seat for another guy to kind of get their fair share of the love. So it's a good problem to have if you're not. And how about Tim Patrick? Let's give Tim Patrick a little love too. That dude, he doesn't get a lot of catches, but when he does, they're crucial. They have been crucial, and his blocking has been key as well. His blocking downfield has really gelled well with that Lions. How Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams already are great downfield blockers. Like seeing him do the same thing, like that opened up that one play where he went and sealed off the right edge, and that allowed for the Amon-Ra touchdown. So
Oh, yeah.
good to see that.
Yeah. And we already talked about Monty, hurt his knee in the first half, came back, ended up playing the rest of the game. Talked about Zeitler as well. I suspect him to be back next game. If you look at his game log from his previous seasons, he's one of those guys who, if he does get hurt, he doesn't stay out hurt. He gets right back in there for the next game. But overall, a guy who doesn't get hurt a lot, so that'll be
And
good for the Lions.
he was a late addition to the injury report at the end of the week. I remember seeing him going, "Wait, what? I haven't heard anything about Zeitler. What was it? A issue, groin injury?
Yeah,
I don't know if that was something that happened in practice or if that was just something that was lingering from that Dallas game. But yeah, that came real late in the week, so I was a little surprised about that.
yep. So yeah, he'll be back next game for sure.
Yeah,
Defensive side, today kind of noticed that the defensive line didn't get a lot of pressures to Sam Darnold, especially during the second half. Even heard in the broadcast saying like, "Man, Sam Darnold's got a lot of time in the pocket." You can even watch. You were even watching the game. You could tell like, wow. So without Hutchinson, it's going to be a hard time for this Lions team unless they send pressures by the linebackers or disguises or whatever to get to those quarterbacks. So hopefully, I again I don't I hope Brad Holmes doesn't jump the gun too soon, but he's making those calls. And with some of these teams out there, like the Browns, for instance, losing their starting quarterback, their record's really bad this year. If maybe they could pick someone up or someone on a different team before the trade deadline, but they do need to get someone in there to help out.
I don't know. I think they still got enough depth pieces. Yeah, you need that guy. Nobody's just gonna ever match that motor of Hutchinson. I don't know if any guy you could trade for. I won't say wouldn't be a problem solver, but I just don't know. It depends on what you get rid of to get somebody. I don't think it'll be a Max Crosby still, unless they really take down the value down to like maybe a second or third round pick. Then if you're Brad Holmes, you got to think about it. Because if Devontae Adams is going for a third round, third round that could be a second. If uh, Amari Cooper got just sent off for what was he sent off for, a third or fourth or something like that.
Yeah.
So I if the value, if the draft pick value could come down a round or two, I think Brad Holmes would be more apt to do that. But then I don't know the contract situation. I know the Lions got cap space. They got the space to pay somebody, but it's just a matter of what are you mortgaging off of your future? And Brad Holmes has come out and said we aren't mortgaging off our future, which I'd be fine with. And I sent you that really interesting stat earlier this week to our group chat about just why you shouldn't be mortgaging the future here. I'm going to have this up on the screen. Is that
Oh yeah.
the age of our core players going into 2028? That's 4 seasons from now, everybody. So you're going to have Tyrion Arnold, who will only be 25. Branch, Gibbs, and Rakestraw will be 26. Sewell, Williams, Joseph, and Laporta, 27. Hutchinson, St. Brown, McNeil, Campbell, 28 years old. Ragnow and Fox will only be 32, and Jared Goff will only be 33 in 2028. Why would you mortgage off? Like, you could still be adding so much more talent with those draft picks. Like, that's why I'm all for Brad Holmes not getting rid of a one. 2 or 3 maybe. You keep the ones. You can keep adding talent to that core group of guys who's going to be here for 4 years. That's why you don't do that big dumb mortgage your future move.
Yeah, I think if it was like a third or fourth, like a 1 year deal, I don't think he's going to go more than 2 years because you got people like Hutchinson, maybe Kirby Joseph as well, looking for a contract extension, and they don't want to tie that money up to someone they bring in who's kind of a iffy sort of player. They don't really know how he's going to do, sort of thing.
Right.
So yeah, Brian Branch, BB, we'll talk about him here. Another great day. Um, if he keeps playing like this again, like last year or last week I mentioned, like all pro, like he had a great interception. He had 4 tackles today. Just playing a great game out there at that safety position. And yeah, they who was it? Someone was saying, yeah, uh, Aaron Glenn said, yeah, Brian Branch, we need to move him to safety, and this is the reason why because he's just making plays out there.
He is, and I think Greg Olson during the broadcast, there's the one play and a simple run stop, but he pointed out how Brian Branch started off 13, 14, 15 yards back and came up for the tackle, like behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. Like, the dude has just got the nose for the football. He has just been an elite talent, and he's been better than we all could have hoped for when the Lions drafted him out of Bama. The dude's a stud, and you can also tell the difference for that defense when he's on the field and when he's not. When he wasn't on the field for them, it you could tell.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, overall DBs played pretty well today considering they're going up against Jefferson, Addison. Not a lot of calls by the officials to the DBs. I know Davis or Carlton Davison had a few, but overall, yeah, I don't think they had anything on Terrion Arnold.
I
So
don't
I
remember right.
think this is like 2 weeks in a row where there's no crazy calls against Terrion Arnold.
If not, there were. I can't remember. Was there? It was. It wasn't like a big penalty, but it was like just a little contact. That might have been against Davis. That 5 yard contact, uh, which I thought I was. I wasn't. I don't know. It was a little ticky tack. I would have even have called pass interference on Justin Jefferson at one point for kind of pushing off, but they're letting them play, and that's all I want. Let them both. They're going to both hand fight. Call it even, and they did. I felt like they officials, at least in that regard, did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, especially with Justin Jefferson. You had that touchdown with Amik Robertson covering him, kind of diving backwards for the ball, trying to swat it away. But yeah, when you're playing someone like that high caliber, that good of a player for the Vikings, like they're gonna get their catches and stuff.
Yeah,
So yeah.
agreed, 100%.
So the defensive side total, they allowed 17 first downs, 4 of 10 on third down efficiencies. They had 4 sacks and 3 punts. So overall, good day by that defense. And we'll see how they do next week against the Mayo man himself, Will Levis, if he does
If he's
play.
Yeah, if he does play.
So yeah, that'll be an interesting one here. Notes from the game. Already talked about Brian Branch stepping up big with interceptions, but I do want to give out a shout out to the promo that the Lions and McDonald's have. Free any size fry the day after the Lions play and they cause a interception. So make sure you get that app and get those free fries. Can't guarantee that they're gonna be fresh, but hey, free is free.
Yeah, now that Kyle's no longer on the fryer there at Mickey D's, I mean, now that we all know he works at a Foot Locker, I mean,
Yep. So yeah, Jake Bates winning field goal. I think it was 44 yards.
yep.
Uh, to go up by 2 with 15 seconds left in the game, pretty much sealed the game for them. So yeah, I think Jake Bates is proving his worth. I don't think he's missed any field goals this season so far.
Was he 9 for 9 going into that kick? Does that make him 10
Yeah,
for 10 on the season now? So he's I won't say clutch. There's so many times like we're watching the game and some of his extra point attempts, it just looks like he's missing them. Like they're just the angle is so bad. I feel like that he's kicking at them. I'm just like, did he miss that? But then you see the refs put their hands up because he missed that one extra point a few weeks back. But his normal kicks have been money so far. Uh, as long as he keeps it up, I think he'll be in Detroit hopefully for a while.
yeah. And then we already talked about defensive end Holmes. Maybe go out there and get someone. I know they signed Isaiah Thompson from the Cleveland practice squad. Didn't play today, so we'll have to see how he does next week. I want to give out a shout out to James Houston, even though I dog him every week. He did have a couple good plays today, trying to get to the quarterback, but then other plays out there, you kind of see him out there, and you're like, what is he doing? So I don't know if he's just kind of rusty for not really playing yet this season. So I'll give him another week, see how he does. But yeah, I think that defensive ends, they need some help there.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. Brad Holmes, I trust you. Um, and I think I would say you get an easy task against the Titans next week. So maybe you can go another week without having to really fully, pull the trigger on something big. But I don't know. I think the Titans. I'll just say the Titans are showing up on your schedule, hopefully at the right time.
Yeah, no, I saw a lot today. They were kind of blitzing 5-man pressure, but it wasn't like when they played. Who was the other one of the running back or running quarterbacks they played so far?
Kyler
Where
Murray.
they kind of squeezed the pocket, didn't let. Or yeah, Cardinals. They played the Cardinals. They squeezed that pocket, didn't let the quarterback get out and run. But today, yeah, you saw it where that pocket, one of the defensive ends kind of swung around, left a big gaping hole for Sam Darnold to go out there and run the ball for some yards. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Aaron Glenn's going to address it, and hopefully they do fix that because I think even though it's Will Levis, he does like to run if he's got the opportunity to run.
Yeah. If he plays, but we'll
So
get to
yes,
that.
some quick news. We had a Lee McNeil contract extension through 2028. Deal is worth $98 million, including $55 million guaranteed. So another, uh, was it,
What were you
another
trying to
person
say?
they lock up there.
Yeah. Again, through that
But yeah,
2028 season.
I was hoping today that we'd kind of see him do some stuff, but it was pretty much a quiet game for Elaine McNeil there.
I don't know. I thought not that he like got any big pressure or anything, but I felt like he made some noise there. Stopping the run, he's going to be a big factor.
Yeah,
So he kind of gives me the vibes of like Ndamukong Suh back in the day. Remember when Sue would just always be so quiet when he wasn't uh, kicking somebody in the nuts or throwing Jay
stepping
Cutler
on
down and
someone or
just
whatever.
or stepping on somebody. But Sue would never have big stats, but he would be the guy in the middle getting all that pressure that allowed a lot of stuff around him to happen. And that's how I feel about Ali McNeil's presence on that. That's why you pay that guy that money. When that contract came across the other day, my first glance was really Ali McNeil. Then I thought about it. I was like, he's essentially the Ndamukong Suh role we used to have. I don't think he's as big or as formidable as Ndamukong, but he does the job very well. He's still a force in that middle of the line. So I mean, you're probably never going to see a whole lot of stat days unless he's just plowing through and lying on top of the quarterback. I mean, he had that one where could have had the sack. It was everybody thought it was going to be roughing the passer, but he was held into Sam Darnold and by the end zone there on that one drive. So he's going to be a guy, no stats. He probably won't be a flashy guy, but he's going to be a guy who's going to cause a lot of stuff to happen around him, and that's why they're paying that man.
Yeah, and that Vikings offensive line, they're pretty good as well. So you
Yes,
got
they
to give
are.
them props as well.
Yeah, that I mean, the Vikings could easily have taken this game. This is definitely a team when you face them again this season, you might have to face them a third time. That's how good this Vikings team is. Now that I've seen them against my team, and we can size them up, they're legit. They're a legit team, and I was only going to give them 5 or 6, maybe 7, 8 wins in the offseason. I didn't know what to expect from them, especially if JJ McCarthy was going to be their quarterback. Could you imagine how bad they'd be if JJ was playing for them right now? But Sam Darnold was the best thing to happen to him. That JJ McCarthy injury might be the best thing to happen to that Vikings team this year. Just saying.
Yeah, I think JJ should have stayed in Michigan because they need a quarterback.
Uh, they need more than a quarterback, son. I don't know how
Uh,
to tell you this.
I think that's a number one thing here.
We'll talk about your
Okay.
Michigan Wolverines on This Week in the World of Football. Our weekly podcast we drop every Tuesday that Kyle's going to be the guest host on this week, everybody. Get ready for that.
Oh yeah, I did watch some of that CFL game, so I'll be ready.
Did you? You actually watched the? Okay, this isn't the time to talk this. We're talking Lions. Unless it's BC Lions, then I guess that's technically still kind of on topic. But anyway,
Anyways, I couldn't tell you who played though. So let's look at Week 7 preview. Lions versus Titans. They are playing. It is at the Titans, October 27th at 1 p.m. on Fox. Um,
are
some
you
big
sure that's
things
not in
here.
Detroit? I'm pretty sure it's in Detroit.
It's away.
Kyle, I'm gonna bet you
No,
$20 right.
it is home. It's at home.
Yeah,
Even
it is
better.
home. I'll take my $20 the next time I see you, you greedy son of a
I
gun.
didn't. I didn't shake on that. So it's at home in Ford Field. That place is going to be rocking.
Oh
So
well.
yeah,
Oh, it's gonna be
should be an
nuts.
even better game now.
Yeah.
Um, so the big news out of this game, especially with Will Levis, is he's going to start or not. If he doesn't start, sounds like they're going to have
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph start. So
Yeah,
that'll
because
be
I'm
interesting.
looking at their game from today. They played the Buffalo Bills today. They lost 34-10. Mason Rudolph threw for 215 yards. He had a touchdown and interception. Tony Pollard had 61 rushing yards. So I don't know. I feel like this is a game the Lions should handle. This is a team at what are they? 1-5 now, 1-6. At
Yeah.
you feel like at home after two big wins for the Lions should handle this one. But I mean that Titans defense though, I'm still gonna give them some credit. They've got a lot of some stats going for them. Clearly, I mean the big thing is the final score. They allowed 34 points, and they've only won one game this season. So you don't want to take any team lightly, but I mean we'll see what happens with no Derrick Henry in that run game. And look, I like Tony Pollard. I feel like the Lions will be able to put a handle on the running game, and no matter who they got at quarterback, I feel like the Lions are going to prevent them from getting the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, who's your biggest threat you got to worry about for that Titans team.
Yeah. Tony Pollard is no Aaron Jones, so um, I
Still a
just
capable back. I like him, but I just I don't know.
yeah. So it should be a lot easier game. Um, looks like even DeAndre Hopkins, he only got one target for -2 yards, so not
Dang.
really in that passing game either.
Yeah, their leading receiver seems like it was Ching Okonkwo, a tight end, had 50 yards receiving off 4 catches. So uh, I think the Lions can cover a tight end, and if we can keep his catches down to a minimum, the Lions might be okay next week.
Yep. So yeah, and the other thing is, I want to see this offense for the Lions continue to go full steam ahead. Hopefully, I want to see Montgomery have a bounce back game, have a good game. Um, Gibbs also, and like to see maybe Sam Laporta finally get some targets and have another big game for him as well.
This is starting to smell like a Sam Laporta game. Like he's been quiet for 6-7 weeks. He's had a catch here and there. He had the big touchdown obviously against Dallas last week. Had one catch this week. I feel like this has got to be his game. Where 5-6, give him some more targets. Have him be your dump off guy instead of a Laporte or instead of Gibbs or Montgomery. Get Laporta mixed in there a little bit. I'd like to see that, and get Jameson Williams back into the action too. Like I said, the Lions got so many ways they could go with it. It's hard to be too upset if they don't go the ways we want them to, as long as they end up winning.
Yeah, and if you see the actives or inactives, they did have Zeitler or not Zeitler, Zylstra active for this game, so that was another tight end. So I don't know if Laporta is still hurting from that ankle injury, but I think there was a play during this game where he kind of came up, kind of started limping, but walked off. All
I
right,
think it was that
so
catch. His catch, it did look like maybe he came up a little tender, but we'll have to wait and see.
yeah. Anything else about this game?
I'm trying to think. Not really, other than like having been to the Viking Stadium this past summer. You didn't go with us, but we went and we got a tour of US Bank Stadium there. It's a great looking stadium. What a crowd though. They were loud. They were something
Oh
else.
yeah,
They were giving the like hey, from our like we were in the Lions playoff game with that crowd. That crowd was insane. The Vikings crowd was pretty good too. It was cool seeing the Lions quiet them down though for a little bit, but man, when they got hyped up, that Vikings crowd is something else. So kudos to the Vikings. You guys are gonna be a tough team all year. So, uh, but I mean, we were able to grit out a win, and boy, I can't be upset about that.
yep. So yeah, that leaves the Lions, the leaders of the NFC North here.
And
Uh,
the NFC.
so they are tied with the Vikings with the same record. Green Bay did win their game today, so they're right up there. The Bears had a bye, so yeah, another pretty much good week for the NFC North.
And with
All
that point
consistent.
differential, I forget. I haven't looked it up. So did Detroit and Minnesota just slightly swap? because it was only a 2-point difference, or now do they have the same point differential? Because I forget where Detroit and Minnesota were going into that game with the point differential. That was something everybody was talking about too this week.
Yeah.
Looking that up right
So,
now.
points.
This makes for great
I don't know. I have
radio.
to look at that.
All good.
But let's
I
go
was
ahead
just
and close
curious.
it out.
All right, I got you, boss. All right, everybody, we hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode or watching if you're on YouTube, and come back for more. Be sure to visit the World of Football's website, www.theworldoffootball.com, for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Or you guys could hit us up. You know, we have an email address, info@theworldoffootball.com. You can send us if you want to talk to us, you know, in the DMs. Or you can connect with us by liking our Facebook, our Instagram, our X account. You can find us at TWF Kalamazoo across all those platforms, everybody. And yeah, be sure to check out our weekly staple, our big show, the This Week in the World of Football podcast, usually presented by myself and my father, Randy. Randy's on vacation this week, which means we're calling Kyle up from the minor leagues to come and play in the big boys game. And Kyle will be on the show with me this week in Studio A. That's right, we're going to be in the actual World of Football studio to record that episode, not over the internet like this, because we have to have that in-person chemistry, Kyle. You know that you and I have. We just got to get together in the same room. And so be sure to check that show out, guys. Again, that's going to drop on Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that. And you guys can find all our links down in the description below. That's everything, Kyle.
All right. That's it for us this week. Hopefully, everyone's still alive after that big win versus the Vikings. Remember, McDonald's, get the app, get your free fries tomorrow.
Not a
And
sponsor.
we could be. So if you're listening,
If you got
McDonald's,
McDonald's as our sponsor, Kyle, Dad might give you permanent kid of the week for eternity.
free Big Macs for everyone.
Whoa!
All right. Until then, we'll see you guys on the next episode next Sunday. And remember, go Lions.
Jared Goff. Jared Goff. Jared Goff.